What's going on, everybody? It's Tim. I wanted to put this out last night, but I just didn't have the chance. But we're going to go into Chargepoint's earnings. A couple things to look out for on the chart. And I did recently sell my swing trade position on Chargepoint. Actually got in last night. After earnings went so good, it only went up 5%, pulled back only up 1%. I did add there. And I did close that position out today for right around 12%. But I do mention it in the Discord. I mentioned all my buys and sells, so definitely check that out. Link down below in the description. But of course, I've got my long-term position as well. Haven't touched that. But we're going to get into Chargepoint. Some recent news there. And I also wanted to point out really quickly a few potential breakout trades that you should keep on your radar. Now, the first of these is going to be Freyr Battery, and this is FREY. They just recently had a deal, caused a little bit of a rally. We do have a gap here. I'm looking personally for a breakout of 1430. I would set a stop loss at 13, and that's how I'd play this. I would play the breakout of 1430. Next up, still not in this one. It is actually under the stop. We did not get in on this one because it did not break that $13 breakout, but I am still keeping an eye on this one, and this is FTCH, or Farfetch Limited. And this one just beat earnings pretty good, came up to 13, developed that as a resistance, and now we're pushing back down towards 10. Keep an eye on this one for a breakout past 13. And I've got one more for you. This one almost broke out today. It probably will this week at some point. Could even do it by the end of the day, although we are running out of steam here. So if it did break out, might not get that much out of it since we're already up 5-6%. But looking at PDD Pinduoduo, this one you would go in at 72, play that breakout. If you want to get technical, right around 72.15, but you want to play this 72 area breakout. On all these trades that I just mentioned are purely just trades, day trades, potential breakout trades, definitely not long-term stocks for me. Although I did say that I swung some Chargepoint shares, this to me is definitely a great long-term stock. And let's go over a couple of earnings details here. They hit 108 million. That's massive. They were expecting 103. As I said before, guys, as long as they get around that 100 million, I will be extremely happy. Previous quarter, they got right around 80 million. The quarter before that was around 80. And those were the first quarters where we didn't just see huge explosive growth. So this is definitely reassuring for this quarter to see that nice growth come in terms of revenue. And my expectation is from here on out, Chargepoint is not going to have a quarter under 100 million ever again. Now, they did improve their gross margin a bit, which was one thing that people had concerns about. And they're guiding their next quarter right at 125 to 135 million. That's massive. And more great news, they confirmed their full year guidance and they expect around 450 to 500 million. And just doing some basic math, well, our last quarter was around 80 million. This quarter was 108. They expect around 125 to 135 next quarter. I just put 135. That leaves us at 323 million. One more quarter. So let me know if I'm wrong here, but I think that means they expect the fourth quarter fiscal 2023 revenue. They expect to take out the rest of that to get to that 450 to 500 million. So let me know if my math is wrong, guys, but it seems like that means this next quarter, first off, like they expected 125, 135 million. That means the next quarter after that, they must be expecting right around 150 million and up to get that 450 to 500 million for the fiscal year. Something to think about, you know. And one crazy thing to think is it could only be a couple quarters from now and they'll be consistently getting around $200 million a quarter. You know, while their gross margin did increase sequentially, meaning quarter over quarter, it was down from 23% in the previous year's same quarter. It is nice to see that they have nearly $500 million in cash just sitting on their balance sheet, but they're basically expecting still a 96, almost 100%, almost double up increase in terms of revenue, and they are expecting a gross margin of 22 to 26%, which would be a nice improvement. And while their expenses are expected to raise about 50% compared to the previous year, it's definitely good to see that revenue is outpacing that. Once we see expenses outpacing revenue, that's a huge negative. That's a huge red flag, but we're not seeing that for Chargepoint. The revenue is accelerating at a much quicker pace than their expenses. But if you guys are interested in their full earnings call, I will cut it up, leave it down below in the description for you. I still have to do it, so it probably won't be there yet, obviously, but at some point I do plan on posting it for you, and also just posting it in my Discord, of course. I just have to get around to cutting it up and editing it. But next up, let's look at the charts. Let me give you some things that I'm looking out for. Now, as I said previously, I did kind of expect us to test this downward trend line, and you'll see that this is a downward trend that we've been in since 2020. We did break out of it, have that downtrend reversal. I personally don't think we're going to ever see under 10 on Chargepoint. Now, can we see the low teens, maybe the 13s, 14s? I think that's definitely possible at this point. I do think it's pretty unlikely that we're going to see around 10 for Chargepoint, just being that, you know, there was a lot of pessimism at that time. Things seem to be slightly improving. It's definitely encouraging to see that Chargepoint gave out pretty good earnings, you know, fantastic revenue beat. Their EPS even came in a little better than expected. But, you know, I personally have no problems with this company. We all know that EVs are definitely the future. The government's all pushing for EV adoption. Chargepoint has been expanding into Europe. It seems their market share in terms of Europe and US is kind of starting to get a little more even. It's not there yet, obviously. America is definitely a bigger portion of their market share, but it's definitely starting to even out a little bit. And here on the right, you can see North America and Europe. It does seem like they're slowly kind of getting more of that Europe market share. They're getting a little bit of a better mix of their earnings. Instead of just coming from America, they're also getting Europe, and it seems to be increasing. And here on the right, you can see North America and Europe. Seems like they're getting a little bit more of the market. They're getting a little bit of a better mix of their earnings. Instead of just coming from America, they're also getting Europe, and it seems to be increasing slowly but surely. That's nice. And overall for both, the trend is up and to the right. That's great. But going back to the chart, I do want to see it start holding 16 as a support. That was a previous resistance. I want to see it start holding as a support and try to knock out that previous resistance of 19 area. I personally think for the time being, it's a great way to just take some profits when it comes up towards 20. Scalp a little bit, don't go out all the way. Personally, I wouldn't go out all the way on this one, but I do from time to time like to swing a small swing position. And you know, Chargepoint, same thing, you know, yes, if it does break out 20, it might suck kind of selling out of it, and then you see that breakout of 20 and it keeps running, but you can always play that breakout of 20. You know, you can sell in anticipation of a sell-off at 20. If that doesn't happen, that's when you go back in and literally ride the breakout. But that's just some food for thought. That's what I would do with Chargepoint. If it comes and approaches 19, I will likely start slowly skimming off the table on my longer term position. And if we do break out of that 20, I will just add back in. If we don't break out at 20, then hey, I can just hold whatever else I have, let it come back down to 16 or so, and reaccumulate what I scalped. Hopefully that makes sense to you guys. I didn't get enough coffee in me this morning, but let me know what you guys are planning on with Chargepoint, and let me know just what you're looking at in the market, any swing trades, any breakout trades. Let me know in the comments below. Thanks as always, guys. Take it easy.